Hello, that was Cantabile, the second movement from Sonata No. 2 in A minor by Drouet. This was edited by and continual realization by Richard Jones. This is the B3 piece of the Grade 4 ABRSM exam pieces from 2022. Taking a look at the start of the piece, we are in 3/4 time, so we have 3 crotchets in the bar. We have 1 flat in the key signature, so we are based around F major, but we do go through a few different keys throughout the piece, such as A minor, G major, and C major. Now, the F major isn't part of the grade 4 scale syllabus, but it was part of the grade 3 syllabus to 2 octaves. And it's still very useful to learn it, as there are quite a few scale snippets in this piece. With the other keys that we go through in this piece, I'm not going to go through them here, but they are part of your grade 4 syllabus, so you should know them, and there are a few scale snippets within the piece as well. The instruction of play here is Cantabile. This is Italian for song-like or in a singing manner, so we need to take special care with the phrasing, trying to do it as if we're singing, as well as playing it legato, and also trying to link up the phrases. You can even flex the tempo a little bit to suit that. The recommended speed here is crotchet at 88 beats per minute. This piece is in a loose ABA form. You have the first A section, which introduces the main idea of the piece in bar 1 to 12. Secondly, you have your first bridging section, the B section in bar 13 to 20, now in D minor. Then back to the A section again in F, this time slightly shorter with a phrase missing, and the ending phrase is also slightly different, but we still have the same melodic shape. After that, we have the second bridging section, the C section, in bar 29 to 38. This is longer and has a completely different melodic shape compared to the B section that we had. And finally onto the A section again, starting off with the same two phrases as the first time, but ending differently with triplets. We start off the piece rhythmically quite simple. But musically we have crescendos and decrescendos in the phrase, as well as having slurs. Before we see the next phrase, we see a tick mark, so we can take a breath here. A little more involved in the next phrase, with more dynamic movement and slightly different rhythm. Since we have quite a few dynamics in this piece, remember that you can alter your volume by changing the direction and speed of the air that you are playing. The lower and faster the air, the louder the sound you'll make. Just don't play too fast or you'll reach a different note entirely. The two A notes at the end of bar 5 and the start of bar 6 are tied, so don't play that note again. You see from bar 6 until bar 8 there are 3 crescendos. Now we're not going down towards a pianissimo from piano, but instead each time we're going back up a little bit so we have room to decrescendo slightly. You can also follow the general trend of going down in volume, but you don't need to do it to an extreme. A new melody in bar 9 to 12 starting in MF. Again decrescendoing twice so you can play the second phrase quieter as like a question and answer phrase. Look out that the second time we have a B natural in there. Onto the B section, starting off with a crescendo on the dotted minimum G, and then we crescendo down in semitone steps. Here we have the first G sharp of the piece telling us that we are now in A minor. Bar 15 and 16 have similar dynamics, but instead of going down in pitch, we're going to go up in pitch. Then we have a tricky rhythmic section in bar 17 with a turn on a G dotted minimum. A turn is a musical ornament that starts on the note itself, steps up to the note above, steps down until the note below, and then going back to the note itself. So with a G that would go G, A, G, F sharp, G. Now normally what we would do is do the turn and then on the last note hang on until we have finished remaining measures. However, in here we are given a recommended rhythm on top of the bar. The first 2 notes of the turn being a semi-quaver and then the later 2 notes becoming quaver, but then we are having a longer note at the start with the dotted crotchet G. So the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and. So with a demo on bar 17. Following on from that in bar 18, we have quaver stepping down. Look out that the B is now natural as well as the F note. Look out also for the rhythm change at the end, as you have 2 semiquavers which leads on to bar 19 and 20, which finish off the phrase. So from bar 17. A familiar melodic shape here in bar 21 to 24, but we are playing a fifth higher as well as being in MF instead of being in piano. Once you've done the first crescendo in bar 21 and 22, when you get to bar 23, you can drop back down to an MF, so you have the room to do a crescendo and a decrescendo. The middle phrase of the initial A section is gone, so we just skip straight to the jump up and step down melody as we had in bar 9 to 12. Again, we have different notes here, taking care that the F is first sharped and then naturaled. You also see here dim poco a poco, meaning that we are doing a diminuendo gradually as suggested by the hairpins. Starting off on the piano, on our C section, we have a dotted minim tied to a crotchet, so the low D note is now 4 beats long. Taking a breath after that, we have another tie in bar 31, this time a crotchet G to a quaver G. Throughout bar 29 and 32, we are doing a gradual crescendo as we see class poco a poco from bar 29. But we also have to be careful as we also see hairpins crescendoing in bar 29 to 30 and a separate decrescendo for each bar in 31 and 32. Now what this means is we are getting louder and louder. So for bar 31 and 32, you are louder than you were, but you're also doing a decrescendo within the bar itself. Again another breath after bar 32, now on a forte after the crescendo from bar 29. This time we have a quaver tied to the minim, then a rundown in the next bar starting off in steps and then in threes. Again we are doing a crescendo on the first bar and then a decrescendo on the second. In bar 35 we have another turn, this time playing it as a quintuplet. When we are doing quintuplets, we are playing the 5 notes evenly in the length of the first 4, which in this case adds up to be a crotchet. We're also slurring the whole turn to a dotted crotchet and ending the bar with a quaver. So the rhythm is this. We have 5 quintuplets in the first beat, 1, and then we have a dotted crotchet, 2, 3, and then the quaver. So a quick demo. More interesting rhythm in bar 37, we have a crotchet which ties onto the first note of 2 sets of triplets. In the next bar we have a quaver, 2 semiquavers, and then quavers going downwards. So counting in crotchets, the rhythm is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Again we are crescendoing and decrescendoing, this time following the shape of the music, so that's quite useful. On bar 38, we have a fermenter both on the minim E note and the crotchet rest, so you can be expressive here. The hairpin dynamic is just on the E note, so you do have to vary your blowing if you want to get the different in dynamics. Finally back onto the familiar melody from the start, playing exactly the same as bar 1 to bar 7, just with extra dynamics. after bar 44, we're playing something different to before, but it is fairly simple rhythm in crotchets. When we get to bar 49, it is the same as bar 36, so don't panic even though the melodic shape is different. Now there is quite a dramatic dynamic change at the end going from forte to pianissimo, so make sure you do play as loud as possible as you can in the forte and then playing as quietly as possible in the pianissimo. Now if you struggle with actually delivering the dynamic pianissimo, you can try and deliver that with your body language, hunching over a little bit so you visually sound quieter. So the ending phrase from bar 43. And that's the end of the piece. Well, that was the tutorial of the B3 piece Cantabile by Drouet. This is a very musical piece with lots of dynamics for expression. There's also quite a few interesting rhythms here, the turns, the ties, the triplets, the quintuplets in particular. You really need to have a good grasp on how to express yourself with the dynamics, how to play loud and soft by variation of airspeed and direction of blowing. You also have to have a good grasp of the phrasing in here, but that's also marked out for you. This is definitely an interesting piece to play even if you're not doing it for the exam. Hopefully that was useful to you. I'll put up the rest of the grade 4 pieces soon. Check out the other B pieces that I've already done and the other grade 4 pieces in the playlist. Give a like and subscribe if you like what I did here. Put a comment down below if you want me to go over anything specific or if you want to share your own tips and tricks with your fellow viewers. I'll see you in the next video on Master of None. Bye!